Morning all, and welcome to today's Q&A. Well, what happened there? I do these videos and they normally get 300-400 views. It's quite nice, thank you very much. Normally get about 2-3 subscribers a day. Very nice, thank you very much. And I've spoken about the ULEZ before. I've done stuff on the zones and the petition video and all that kind of stuff. And they normally kick around the same mark. And then for some reason, I really don't know, this video got 10,000 views. By the way, we've got bells in the background if you can hear them, something to do with the king. In like a day, I got 150 subscribers in a day. And I suppose all I can say is, thanks very much. So if you are a new subscriber to the channel, thank you, much appreciated. And if you have taken the trouble to comment, this is what we do on a Sunday. We sort of discuss the comments and read out the comments so everybody else can take note. So yeah, it's quite a lot to go through today, obviously, because it was like a lot of views. So you might want to grab yourself a cup of tea. But first of all, before we go on, I'd like to say, if anyone out there is directly involved in this Action ULEZ LEZ CAZ thing, and if they want to drop us an email address or a comment, something in the comments, I can contact them. I'm more than happy to do anything I possibly can to stop this, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous and I think it's affecting a lot of people. You know, we're kind of passionate about it, like, you know. So yeah, if you can, leave us a comment or find some way you can get through, or find some way I'll get through to you, and I'm more than happy to turn up with the protest and do the thing. Also from Cleopatra, Bill's Allotment Diary, Radio Crash and Ali, they said, where's the link? Yeah, because I didn't even realise I hadn't put it in there, so I've gone back on the video. I'll put the link in the description. I've also put the link on the card. Ignore the picture, I had to put any old picture up because it wouldn't let me do it otherwise. And I'll do the same today, so I'll do a link now. There we go. And I'll put a link again underneath. Let's write this down, so I don't write it down, I forget. And I'll put a link underneath in the comments. So if you want to go on a Facebook thing, sign a petition, join it, because the more of us that actually get behind it, it shows that people are actually not happy about this. And that will have an impact, because the only thing they care about is votes. But we will come into this. There's a lot of things potentially they say you can do, but the bottom line is, if we want to get it changed, we're going to have to turn around and go, you're upsetting a lot of people here, and if you carry on doing this, they're going to say, get out. And that terrifies them. But, so before we start, Ditch says, personally I'm in favour of having clean air to breathe that does not harm our children's development. So am I, Ditch. The problem is, the congestion zones do the opposite. And this is why I keep saying this is poor people's tax under the guise of ecology. Because firstly, Godzilla's has given us a breakdown on this in the past, the amount of carbon it takes to build a new van, and then the fact that we're having to scrap all these actually perfectly decent motors is more than the carbon than the new van actually puts out in a lifetime. Secondly, it's not about emissions, because if it was about emissions, it would be on an emissions test. So you take it in and they all do this and they stick the thing up the exhaust pipe and they turn around and go, right, that passes, that fails. There are Euro 6 motors out there that run on the AdBlue that put out less emissions than the, Euro 5 motors out there that run on the AdBlue that put out less emissions than Euro 6 motors, but the Euro 5 motors can't go in, the Euro 6 motors can. It's not about emissions, it's just about making people buy new motors or taxing them through the nose. The second thing is, look at it this way. Emissions in the actual zones have actually gone down by 8%. So like the carbon monoxide thing has gone down by 8%. Round the outside of the zones, it's gone up by 12%. Because what is now happening is people, rather than just going from there to there, are having to go all the way round or pay the fee. And they don't want to pay the fee. And then because that creates traffic, they're sitting in traffic. Think of it like you're driving down a motorway and suddenly they close a lane. What happens? We all queue up and we sit there with our engines running in a queue, pumping out fumes, but not actually getting anywhere. That's exactly the same as if you close a city centre. Because suddenly it's the same as closing a load of roads. So now I used to be able to use that road, that road, that road, that road. Now I can only use that road, and so can everybody else, and so we're all sitting there waiting to get round. So it's not about saving our children. And also, the fact is, if you take in the city centres, that's where all the office workers work. That's where all the shops are and all that kind of stuff. Where are the schools? Around the outside in the suburbs. So the poor kids that are sitting out playing in the playground are actually worse off as it. So no, it's all nonsense. But yes, I am in favour of a cleaner, better environment, and we will hopefully get there in time, but this is not the way to do it. As user SK8 says, it says racketeering, the finest, pure and simple. Zero to do with clean air. As I say, the vehicles that travel outside these zones pass near the zone's borders, or the wind blows, the wind doesn't blow the pollution, because yeah, it's kind of like, because air doesn't move, does it? So if you're around the outside pumping out, that doesn't count, does it? These so-called alleged pollutants are still everywhere and affect the zones regardless. Yeah, unless they put unless there's an invisible force field over it, what you gonna do? Mr. Pye says we all pay a lot. We pay a lot more taxes. He said, he kind of says comically, he says, yeah, if we all pay a lot more taxes, the climate will get better. Now, there is some degree to that, which is if they've got money, they can use the money to try to reduce, you could get, what do they call them, carbon banks and stuff like that. There is ways of getting it out there, but this is not the way. And it seems to be the general consensus opinion of you guys, sort of general film says we need to stop the ULEZ expansion. It won't save anyone's life or protect the environment. Shane Hardy says there's a couple of guys out there watching, watch Brown Car Guy and Jeff Buys Cars. They've also covered this, and he says keep up a good fight. Cheers, Shane. He's a regular commenter, as old Shane. Stev Boy says, has anything ever changed by signing a petition? We need to do what the French do. And Jay Hill says, writing a stiffly worded letter to your MP is just shredder fodder. Mass non-compliance, civil disobedience is the way to go. And White Van makes the point, he said, if this was France, these zones would be stopped in an instant because they'd burn the streets. It's good that the cause is getting more organised, but I'm hoping this group doesn't end up like the oil protests. On that point, I would say most of the people on the group, I think, tend to be people like me. Kind of just the little guy who's just trying to turn a coin and make a living, and they're not going to do anything particularly that's going to harm them or anybody like them. So hanging off a bridge and stopping everybody going to work is probably not on their agenda. As for the civil disobedience thing, I think the only time that anything has ever not worked is if everybody just goes, we're not doing it. So like back in the day, there was a campaign called Buy British. And the whole concept was we just, had a little flag on it, Union flag on it, buy that. Didn't work because people just, when you go into the shop and they go, well, okay, there's one TV there which is British that's like £300, and then there's one next door to it which is £150 and twice as good. I'm going to go for the good one that's cheaper. So it didn't really work. But then if things become unpopular, like the poll tax, and we all go, we're not doing this. You're joking. So what you're telling me is that I live in a house with, in a little tiny house, but there's four of us, just making our way, and we've got to pay more money than the bloke up the road who lives in a mansion because there's two of them. No. So if we all turn around and go, no, it will stop. And the way to get them, the way for us to go no, is to sign up to these things when you vote. So, sign up to the petition, sign up to the ULEZ and go on the protest, make it known that it's a vote loser. And once it's a vote loser, they'll change it. Where was we? Matthew Gurney says, cars should be reduced and penalised so that people who actually need the vehicles, like truckers and van workers, can use the roads and be prioritised. That's true. People aren't going to leave their cars. In fairness, you've got to get to work somehow, haven't you? And the trains aren't exactly sort of empty, are they? The train networks, all the kind of the carpooling thing. That's a nice idea. People don't want to share cars. So you can't stop people doing what they're going to do. But at the same time, if we make the people that are doing it, make it known that it's unpopular, then I think we got half a chance of getting it reduced. This was another thing that gets me. The only time that I can remember where a zone has actually been reduced or repealed was when the congestion zone used to take into account West London as well as East London, and the middle bit of London. And then they actually got rid of the west bit, which included Richmond. Not Richmond, sorry. Chelsea. And it included, I can't remember the name of it now. Where the Queen lives? No, you know, where all the, yeah, so where all the rich people lived in London, they went, no, we don't want to pay this. That's fine. We'll talk to our mates. We'll get rid of that. The other bit, everybody can pay. So, no, I do think we do need to take action. So Kensington, that was the name I can remember. Nut Rasheen says, people don't realise this will cause food and other services to go up. It's just an easy way to raise tax by authorities. Yes, it's poor people's tax under the guise of ecology, and yes, it's inflationary. Because from my point of view, we used to deliver into the zones. Now we don't, because it costs 100 quid. Or if I've done it before, I've gone, yeah, I'll do the job, but it's going to cost you another 100 quid. And if they're desperate to get the job off, they'll pay it. So that's £100 more for their customer. It's inflationary. Tony B says, I wonder how many lorry drivers will leave their business because of these costs. I don't think we lose our business. We just don't go in there anymore. Whereas I used to, and don't get me wrong, I don't miss driving in London, it's hard work. But, yeah, I just take jobs from Milton Keynes instead now. Nikki Ryder says, who forced you to enter the ULEZ zone? I was never forced to enter the ULEZ zone. The other problem we've got with the way that we take jobs is sometimes it's kind of like a taxi. Someone will ring you up and go, I need you to go from here to here. And you go, yeah, okay, that's fine, I can do it. And sometimes you look at it and you go, is that zone? Is that not zone? Well, it says Rickmansworth. But is that Harrow? I'm not sure, because sometimes they lie. I've had it once where a guy turned around and said, you got to deliver to Watford. The job came through and now it was delivered to Cricklewood. And I'm like, that's a different place, mate. And I rang him up and went, yeah, it's only 10 miles. I went, yes, but one of them's inside the zone and one of them's outside the zone, and our lorry can't go in. So, yeah, it's not a matter of... and also there's the other problem we get, when you go around the 25 and suddenly it's closed and there's a diversion, and they force you into the zone. But you can actually appeal those. Brian Webb, my mate, hello Brian. He says, Peter, you've got two choices. Retire on the profits or don't be so tight and spend some money on new vehicles so you can go anywhere. Brian, if I could afford new vehicles, I'd buy new vehicles. We drive old vehicles because we can't afford new vehicles. Just like a lot of the other people on this channel. Domain name guy. It says, ref the ULEZ. He says, when you used to be an agency driver, some companies used to lease their trucks. And some used to buy new trucks because of leasing the truck saves time and money and working out where you're going to go to. Like I say, if I could afford to buy Euro 6s, I would buy Euro 6. But the problem you've got, if you want to buy a lorry that's Euro 5 that's done 300,000 miles, probably about £8,000. You want to buy a lorry that's about Euro 6 that's done about 3,000 miles, 300. Can't speak today. 300,000 miles, £15,000. It's double the amount of money just because it's a newer motor and because it can go into these places. And I personally think when you weigh up the costs, because we don't go, if you were delivering to the zone all day, every day, then you'd have to get a new one. But we're not. So we just choose not to go in. But as it gets harder and harder, there are more and more places you can't go to. And also you forget. You take a job down to Portsmouth, get down to Portsmouth and go, oh, I forgot Portsmouth's got a zone now. Oh, I forgot Bath's got a zone. You know, so... It's just not pretty. It's not fun. Books Do Net says, thanks for taking the time to post. You're welcome, mate. He said they banished my classic 90s my classic 90s car to the garage. The car was very well maintained, done less than 1,000 miles per year. The war on actual motorists is criminal. And thanks for speed awareness. I did a speed awareness one as well. So. Minimoo says, the thing is, this will not end with LTZs and ULEZ. People like me who do not drive or have the right cars may think they won't be affected, but they will. Every ordinary person will be affected and we will need to stand up. Absolutely, my friend. Gloom Goblin says, we have social media and controlled opposition groups that have replaced the authentic resistance. I don't know about that. I think I'm kind of a fan of the social media thing because I think before you didn't have a voice And now you do have a voice. I mean, they're saying with the TikTok thing, which I'm trying to get on, which I'm keep meaning to make videos for. I'm working on it. They're trying to ban it. A lot of the governments don't like it because you can turn around and go, oh, there's nothing going on in Birmingham at the moment. You go on TikTok and there's like 100 people with their phones going, yeah, there is. Suddenly, you can't lie. Suddenly, the people are out there speaking, oh, yes, no, everybody's very happy with this. And I go, well, no, they're not, because I can go on the social media and I'll go on my Twitter and there's like thousands of people going, we're not happy about this. So I'm actually a fan of it. I think it helps, but could be wrong. Probably am. I normally am. John King says, mate, I'm a self-employed decorator in Feltham. We're doing a job in the area. 3 decorators I work with from outside the ULEZ zone hadn't realised this was happening in August. Just goes to show how many people know nothing about it. So presumably they've gone in their vans, and suddenly they start getting fines. You know what? What's going on here? So yeah, no, it's horrible. Derek Ferguson says tradespeople should go back to using horse and carts. That upset the elites. Yeah, there's also the problem that we're trying to earn money. So if it normally takes you half an hour to drive there, and suddenly it's now going to take you 3 hours to drive there because you're in horse and cart, doesn't really work, does it? Nice idea, probably good for the environment, doesn't really work. Dodge Edgett says, it's all a design with a greater plan, wake up. You're probably right there, my friend. Cavendish says ULEZ is totally illegal according to English common law, which is still in place above all the rubbish Khan keeps dreaming up. We actually need to educate people on our proper legal system. Yeah, the problem with that is a lot of things are illegal due to common law, and a lot of things are illegal that shouldn't be. Like, I don't think spitting is illegal. Common people wearing makeup, I think, is illegal. Also, I think you are allowed to shoot a Welshman if you stand on a wall at the certain part of like the morning or something like that, or one particular day of the year. Yeah, absolute nonsense. We're still going on this. Yeah. But the thing is, there's a difference between what the law says and what they do, and whether they enforce it or not, and they're kind of enforcing it. Barry Walton says, don't be silly, this is not happening, it's just a conspiracy. I think he's on about the environment there. I think it probably is happening, Barry. I kind of do, things do seem to be getting a little bit warmer, and ice caps do seem to be melting, and we do need to do something about it, just not this, because this is contrary to it. It's just a money-making scheme. It's all smoke and mirrors. Polo VW, YV, says they want to push us onto the dole. Then you're a puppet and you have to rely on government money. They hope that you'll get the old jam roll, you'll vote more lefty climate alarmist policy. There is don't even get me started. The kids are trying, kids trying to get houses now. You can't. Everything's so expensive, so you can't buy one, so you've got to rent one. And who owns the properties? All the rich people. So whereas before you used to buy a house and say it'd be yours, now you just got to give all your money to rich people all your life. Just don't get me started. Colin Martin says, all this communist rubbish is driving up costs for everyone, making every one of us poorer. The aim of socialism is to make everyone poor and control them with handouts and linked behaviour. I don't think it is. I believe socialism is just a matter of if you earn a little bit more money, you can hand a little bit more money back. I don't think that's such a bad thing. But as for driving up the costs, yes, that's definitely true. It's inflationary. It's another one that gets me sort of like the pay rises. We're told we're not allowed to ask for pay rise because it's inflationary and inflation's out of control. And then we went, well, we didn't have a pay rise 5 years ago. And they went, yeah, well, 5 years ago there was no inflation, so you didn't need a pay rise. So if I can't have a pay rise when there's no inflation, and I can't have a pay rise when there is inflation, when can I have a pay rise? Because things are still going up. Food bill's going up. My mortgage has quadrupled. My gas bill has doubled. Got to get the money from somewhere. Chris Bell says, I'm all electric heating wise in a stone-walled house. The energy crisis seems to be a walk in the park compared to what I'm going through. It's what held our motorists now and in the future. It's my daughter has a 2 litre 2005 VW Beetle. Her tax has risen by 70 quid, not the usual £10 a year. Something will happen surely. I really hope so, my friend. Truly Exercise says, Rich people don't care. They will carry on driving their gas-guzzling vehicles, screeching tyres and belching out fumes. They can afford the fines, the petrol and the diesel prices have no meaning, but they do to us who can't afford the cost. And this is true, and this is why something needs to be done. Chris Austin says, at the moment, the Lord Mayor of London is trying to close down London and close down business. Well, look, I don't go in there anymore. How many other people are like me that just don't go in there anymore? And that means that those that do go in, presumably are charging more money. I know if you're 4 silver and a Euro 6, to move like 6 pallets into London now, it's like 350, 400 quid. Because that's, you know, to get a vehicle that's actually compliant and will do it in all that time. So it's crazy. English Independence says, why do our people continue to vote for political parties who are intent on punishing them? They deliberately use them versus us tactics to divide us, while every citizen, rich or poor, is being harmed by the policies. We have to stop allowing them to divide us and move away quickly from all political parties. The system is rigged against our people. He signed the conditions and thanks for taking the time. Cheers, mate. Julian Ashmore says the ULEZ will be scrapped. Then the Trojan horse, which is called which so-called smart folk are missing, is paid by mile. Yeah, this is scary. Which is the fact they're going, well, not only are they, what they've done is they're going, well, ULEZ, that's making money. No, there was LEZ, that's making money. How can we make more money? We'll do ULEZ, ultra low emissions. We'll do 2 zones. Brilliant. That's great. How can we make even more money? I know. We'll charge them by the mile. If we charge them by the mile, we're going to really screw them. That's what it is. And they will get away with it unless we just turn around and go, no, enough's enough. Stops here. I pay my road tax. That's the principle. That allows me to drive on the roads. You ban all these things. Also, eventually, every council, I mean, we've got Manchester's on hold at the moment, but they'll take one, and then before you know it, there'll be like Dunstable Council, Luton Council, they'll all have zones. And then eventually all the zones will join up. And when all the zones join up, you won't have a zone anymore, because you'll just be paying to drive anywhere. It'll just be a new introduced tax, which all of us, I think, in this day and age, and the current climate, can ill afford. William Kennedy says, again, he says, it's just another way to tax us, and this government hides the fact. This country is a mess, and yet they still force green net zero agenda on us that will empty town centres. We definitely need to move towards a greener future, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't, but it has to be done at a regular pace, with the right agenda and the right ideas, not this. This is just a stealth tax. Jim Spencer says, remember where to put your vote next time. Reform anything else you're asking for. Yeah. Connie and A says, we need to vote the governments out. Doesn't seem to matter who you vote for. They've all lost the plot. All I can see is Reform UK. They seem on the same planet as the rest of us. Don't know anything about Reform UK, I'll be honest with you. So I'll have to look that one up. More on Media Production says, think local. Who implements these global agendas? Your local council. Your MP is useless, bought and paid for, in both cases. When my MP was hopeless, I wrote him a letter, he did nothing. I'm not saying your council is really brilliant and dedicated of all people. They're not. But the ones who are implementing these agendas, they are the ones who are implementing the agendas and the ones who can change them. So he's saying, get in touch with a local council and go, just a little protest. No, stop this, it's not on. Paul Hinckley says, we don't live in a democracy. Kind of. You know, I mean, democracy is the right way to reach the wrong decision anyway, and I'm not a fan of democracy. I believe in dictatorship with the right person in charge. Me. Yeah, we kind of do, kind of don't, do we? It could be a little bit more democratic, but the problem with that then is it just gets out of hand. I just think we need to get someone in there who's actually who's got understanding what's going on. Carl Vaz says, I consider the ULEZ expansion into London suburbs unnecessary and justified. Also, consideration should be given to remove the ULEZ zones from inner London, not central London. I attend ULEZ marches and I do my utmost in my capacity to fight against the ULEZ. I have personally seen my MP written repeatedly to the Mayor, TfL, local and London councils over the past 6 years before they were expanding the ULEZ into inner London, etc. He said, I continuously pray that they will deliver us from the evil Khan who does not understand the culture and thinks according to his own village mentality. The man should be in prison for fraud and deception. Hopefully the upcoming court case in July will stop the ULEZ expansion. I don't know about that either. I'm not saying that I'm actually totally clued up on this. I just get very frustrated by it. Paul D says, obviously, you need to earn, but I think it's time for truckers, van drivers and tradespeople need to just walk away from places with these silly and fake environmental charges. When the people can't get food, their plumber or their ambulance delivery drivers cost twice as much, then they will start to shout. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think people are starting to shout. I think the biggest problem comes from, like my mate Ken. He's a market trader, drives into London. He's got an old van, a 2006 van, but he loves this van. He's done the engine, he's maintained it, he's done the whole thing. Now they're saying, well, you've got to get rid of it. And he's like, why? It's fine. And it's not like the emissions between the Euro 4 and the Euro 6 are that much. They are still pumping out fumes, and it's not like the electric cars. Okay, well, they're not putting the pollution there, but the electricity's got to come from somewhere. At the moment, if everybody turned from a fuel car to an electric car, we've got the capacity to charge 3% of them. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Leachy says, I predict the government, who is so desperate for votes, will overturn the ULEZ expansion. I hope you're right, mate. And Scott V says, Khan has wiped out what's left of my motorcycle life. Why do you think he goes around in a bulletproof Range Rover? I thought motorcycles are okay, but obviously I don't know what's going on with yours. So we got a few people here that have commented on this is what they see as the way forward. So we're going to go on to that one now, which is David Johnson. He says the answer is for all business drivers to stop driving for 1 week. Just stop driving. He can't join, he's not on Facebook, that's fair enough. Christopher McCall says mass compliance, that's the way forward. John Hall says what needs to happen is all transport needs to tell the government that they will refuse to deliver. Sarah Trucker says businesses need to avoid and boycott London. How this government has allowed this is unbelievable. We need to hit them in their pockets. It's just sad that ordinary people have to pick up the cost. Builders, plumbers, this will put the cost over to their customer. Then when the customer can't afford it, then the tradesman dips out anyway. It's a vicious circle. And second chances. Oh no, we can't that way. So yeah, that's one way of doing it. Mass compliance. The problem with mass compliance is we've all got to turn a coin. So if I turn around and say I'm not driving for a week, I don't get paid for a week. I'm a subcontractor. And at the same time, the mortgage bill still comes in, the gas bill comes in, the electric bill comes in. I've still got to buy food. I can't afford to take the time off. So if everybody said we're not going to do it, I'd have to join. If everybody didn't do it, I'd have to join. But at the same time, it would hurt me too. And I'm trying to get this out of the way where it doesn't hurt people, because it shouldn't. It's not their fault. So, second chances. What if a small group of world leaders were to conclude that the principal, this is a quote, the principal risk to the earth comes from the actions of rich countries. In order to save the planet, the group decides the only hope for the planet is that mass industrial civilizations collapse. Well, that's not the only hope, is it? Because it's not the civilization's fault, and there's nothing wrong with the civilizations. We're kind of okay, we're kind of happy here, but there's got to be another way. The other one, which a lot of people say, don't pay the fine. DCI, don't pay the fine. Paul Frankos, don't pay and smash the cameras. Darren Lambert, he says, don't pay the fines. Birmingham didn't, and the council had to quash thousands of fines as they were not in the legislation. This is true. John Mormaclue says, these charges are legal, we have not agreed to them, and these councils only operate by the consent of the people. Councils no longer represent the people, so don't pay the fine. Right, so Mike Harrison says, we have the right to travel, and the people own and pay for the roads. We're told we can't afford to use them freely. I've made that point. We pay your own tax, don't you really? David Richards says, appreciate the words. He said, the fines are getting off the ground will not be paid. Don't pay them. Christian Taylor, don't pay. Ask them to prove they have authority and impose the action. Paul Smith, there's no need to pay the fines. They're not legal charges. They are a commercial entity charging you for disobeying the rules. Yeah, so there's a lot of don't pay there. The problem with that is it just leads to a road of grief. Now, I've done it before. Now, if you get the parking eye things, if you don't pay them, sometimes they just go away. They'll send you a load of letters. If you don't pay, we're going to take you to court. We're going to burn your children, that kind of thing. And then it stops. If it's a council one, eventually they'll send a bailiff round. Because councils don't care. Because they've got the money and they'll go, right, you'll get the letter, then you'll get the red letter, and then it's trebled, and then they'll come round and say, right, that's it. If you don't pay the fine, I'm going to take your telly. Or if you don't pay the fine, here's the thing, you're going to court. And then you'll go to court, and then they'll make you pay a bigger fine, or they'll put you in prison. So there is kind of, if we all didn't pay, like again, if it was mass civil disobedience, they'd have to do something about it. But if you don't pay on an individual basis, you're just going to get a world of pain. So, and we're not organised enough to not pay, so I don't know if that's the way forward. As Craig Naff says, he's drive or not, the cost will be passed on to you. Other suggestions, Nate just keeps it. Imagine if everyone removed their number plates. Yeah, once again, world of grief. Hogarth Regression says, you can buy number plates with a glossy finish that the cameras can't read, or smear the ones you've got in Vaseline. I don't think that works. It's a nice idea, but I don't think it works. And Grey UK says, got to be worth false number plates. Yeah, again, world of pain. So I believe that all we can do is start making some noise and start letting them know, whether it's by signing a petition or by getting up with this Action UK ULEZ thing, and then they're going, then they'll be sitting in their corridors of power going, you know, there's a group of people out there, and it's like, you know, 5 million, 10 million strong, and they're really against this. So when we go for our next election and we're campaigning for low emission zone, we're going to lose a lot of votes. I think it's time to ban the zones, which they will eventually do, and then find us another way to tax somewhere else, because that's what they do. So that's Q&A. Like I say, guys, thanks very much for all the subscribers. Thanks very much for watching. Why? I don't know, but I do really appreciate it. And as a final note, Vanishing Point says, I like your t-shirt, and Jim D says, what's your t-shirt about? Nothing in particular, it's a firm. They're called Raging Bull, and they're just, I think it's Phil Vickery's firm, and I like them because they do big sizes and because they're long. And despite the fact I'm 6'1", I've only got little legs. I'm like 32-inch legs, so I had that problem that when you get a t-shirt, it comes up to about here, and when you bend over, you get that sort of fleshy bit that gets cold. So I just kind of like the Union flag thing and the ball thing. So, but yeah, guys, once again, welcome to the channel. If we talk about all kinds of stuff here, we talk about, you know, boots and vans, and a lot about career exchange. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let's hope we can get somewhere with this. And like I say, if anyone knows anybody who's like connected to this action against LEZ, ULEZ and CAZ, and I can be of any assistance, if you can find a way of letting me know, put something in the comments, I'll happily help. I really will, because I think it's ridiculous, and it's hurting people like me. It's hurting the little man, and I think it should be stopped. And then we can do our very best to, like we say, to take care and take money.